Gen Z women on TikTok are in a collective state of mass hysteria, mass psychosis. With all of these beauty trends that they keep spreading around, they are obsessed with image and body image issues. And TikTok is certainly not helping anything. So the recent trend is girl pretty versus guy pretty. Let's define these. Guy pretty is, I assume, the women that appeal to the male gaze. And girl pretty would refer to female beauty that is appealing to women. Okay. What they like to see in themselves. So here are the examples.
Don't they also say men are dogs and would have sex with anything anyways? So I feel like it's a self-defeating argument.
I took this as more of like a masculine versus feminine beauty, like pretty.
I think that what they're referring to is like what guys find attractive versus.
Okay.
I'm going to put the pictures.
I think that makes more sense.
Before we talk, let's put the pictures up on screen.
Yeah.
This is what they listed as girl pretty.
Emirata is there, Adriana Lima, Giselle Bundchen, Naomi Campbell.
They're literally all pretty. I'm not a girl. So, and then this is guy pretty.
I think any man would jump at the chance with any of these women.
And here's what they call guy pretty.
I don't recognize the first one, but Kim Kardashian is there, Nessa Barrett, Madison Beer. I don't recognize the other two. So I don't understand how you can argue that Adriana Lima, for instance, doesn't appeal to the male gaze.
Right.
This is a Victoria's Secret angel.
Yeah.
Is that not appealing to men?
I thought the whole point of the reason they got rid of the Victoria's Secret stuff was because it was the male gaze and they needed to make it for women.
Right?
All the
Now
guy
I'm
pretty
confused.
people look alike too. I
How
could
is-
barely tell that was Kim Kardashian.
Emily
Like, they just-
Ratatouille is not appealing to the male gaze.
Ratatouille?
Radikowski.
She's considered one of the most attractive models today.
I look at all of these women and say, you're pretty. That's what I say to all of them. So that makes them, technically, they're all guy pretty.
I guess what they're saying is guys prefer the more fake, trendy, Instagram filtered, photoshopped makeup, lip fillers.
So it's an unintended consequence of the filtered culture we live through now, because we see more people through social media than we ever do in the real world now.
I think that they're saying guys prefer the more pornified look.
Okay. I mean, I think most of these guys would prefer to just be having sex. So I don't think it really matters to them whether they're girl
I don't
pretty
think
or
they would
guy
have a
pretty.
chance with Naomi Campbell in the 90s or Kim Kardashian. So
I think
that's
the
kind of
guys-
irrelevant.
It's kind of like our argument about eyelashes. I'm like, if she's got eyelashes at all, he'll have sex with you most likely. So
Even if she doesn't.
Brittany
he might still, depends on if he's having a drink.
Brittany Venti replied, I don't want to be mean. I think they're all stunning, but I feel like a porn-addicted man would choose the right side.
Or what about a guy who just likes watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Mary? Maybe he just likes the Kardashians.
He likes Kim's personality.
That's what
okay.
he thinks very highly of her personality.
All
And
the
they
girl
asked,
pretty girls are like from the 90s. Not all of them, but most of them. Was that like Kate Moss? And
Remember when
Adriana?
I was saying 20
Yeah.
minutes ago about how
Yeah.
there is no more girl next door pretty in
Right.
society anymore?
Some of these supermodels, I guess, fashion models are the women that gay men find attractive, which is still a male gaze, right? So either way, it's patriarchal. So they posted this saying young women on TikTok are experiencing a sort of collective psychosis because they keep creating more and more of these trends to talk about body image, facial structure. They're creating terms like, is she fox pretty, doe pretty, cat pretty, whatever. Like they're
obsession with
comparing
labels?
women to animals, and then they're also making these categories for men. Like men can be cows, dogs, lions, or like, I don't fucking know. They keep creating all of these categories to place people in.
Is this because we
so
just live in a
bored.
society that's desperate to label everything now? Everything has to be categorized.
Yeah.
Everyone
labeled
has
by
to be on a
identity.
totem pole. It must have something to do with the Oppression Olympics.
I think, well, it's kind of the same logic that I have when women and TikTok come up with trends like it's silent walking. I'm like, it's just walking without your phone. Like they need to give a label or name something. Otherwise, it's like their brain can't handle the idea that it doesn't fit someplace into some category.
Right? This is one tweet about it. TikTok's Zoomer generation has reached unprecedented levels of narcissism. They lack absolutely no concrete sense of self. So they have to categorize every aspect of existence and assign imaginary labels to define who they are.
It's the same thing
if they
with
cannot
sexuality now.
identify themselves with these labels, they cease to exist. So if you're not LGBT, you can be one of these other micro labels.
I was looking. I mean, it was like when we were talking about Diddy and Aubrey O'Day, and she was talking about being uncomfortable with certain acts while working for Diddy. I'm like, 20 to 1, she's got an OnlyFans. Went and looked, had an OnlyFans. And in it listed sapiosexual, which made me roll my eyes so hard I got a migraine because sapiosexual, if I recall correctly, means it's a woman who's sexually attracted to intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Is that the long and the short of it?
Oh, I thought it was sapiosexual.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Who
Same
cares?
thing.
Same thing. I don't
diff.
give a crap.
It's a stupid term.
It's a stupid made up.
Oh, they
fake
made
term
up a
anyways.
term for like there's a sexual orientation now for wanting to have an emotional connection with someone
Oh my God.
before having sex with them. That's considered a niche sexual orientation because people's view of human sexuality and relationships and connection has been so warped that the norm is casual sex with strangers.
Yeah.
That is the norm. If you prefer anything other than that, you are a demisexual. So you are a specific sexual orientation that requires to have sex with someone you love.
That's super
That's
black
just
pill.
human nature. That is just human nature.
Yeah.
I don't know like what to do with these people. Like, how do you grow up in a society like this? How do you become an adult?
Imagine.
Like this.
Well, also, it's a short road to madness when you think about how every single decision you make might now change where you're categorized and labeled in the world, and you like feel yourself switching from box to box as your
Right.
personality changes. Just like back in the day, you could be a straight woman and look butch. And that was fine. You're still a woman. You were always a woman. You were never anything less than that just because you didn't fit the traditional modeling paradigm for
you're
what
not
was considered
secretly a trans man who has internalized transphobia and hasn't come to terms with your true identity yet.
This is all college's
But
fault.
now I guess those terms are falling out of fashion for even smaller, more niche categories. TikTok Zoomers are narcissistic dopamine addicts looking for the next label to ascribe to themselves. Carefully crafted mental illness and gender identity labels don't do it for them anymore. So now we are reaching deranged territory of guy pretty and girl pretty. No one soul searches anymore. They put labels in their Instagram bio and look for themselves in online personality tests.
This is all your lady's fault for that crystal stuff that got big. And when women are tell you that you can't Cancer can't get with a Virgo when Mercury's in retrograde, you were already labeling people back then. It was just considered harmless.
Sarah, you ascribe some credibility to these systems and astrology and I don't know, crystals maybe? Am I wrong about that?
At one point, yes. In my
Do you
life.
feel it has devolved into narcissism for a lot of people?
Astrology in general?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that the internet has turned everything into this narcissistic pursuit where you can't just have an interest that you're sort of interested in. It has to be your entire personality. And then you find other groups where it's their entire personality. And that completely defines you.
It's like,
and,
oh, I'm a bad person because I'm neurodivergent. Or, oh, I don't know, I cheated on my boyfriend because I'm a Scorpio. Like,
my favorite is
it's
the
always
meme.
something to like excuse your bad
My
behavior
favorite
with a
is
label.
the meme.
Yeah.
It's the meme where it says like a woman will back into a fire hydrant, set it off, and say, "Whoops, it's because I'm a Capri Sun."
Yeah.
Like that's the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. So you can blame good and bad behavior on all this stuff, right?
And if you spend enough time on the internet, there's not going to be any distinction meaningfully between your own identity and who you present to be online.
Is a lot of this just a desperate search for companionship in some fashion? People looking for people like-minded like them. And since it's harder to do that on the internet than it is in the real world, where you actually have to get a feel for a person, like face to face, like you have to use these labels. It's almost like we're actually using human algorithms to categorize ourselves, because our computers are turning us into living avatars that need to be, we like, kids yearn for the minds and adults yearn for some type of order. And therefore the only way to find it now is to do so by actually giving yourself labels.
Yeah, then proving their out of touch boomer parents right when they say it's you and that damned phone. Like, you actually could benefit from putting your phone down and socializing in person. And I've said this before, all of the seemingly conservative behavioral trends in Gen Z can be chalked up to a much more boring and depressing explanation. So they're drinking less. Well, it's actually because they're socializing less, and also their drug of choice is weed or SSRIs or Adderall. And they're having less premarital sex because they're having less relationships, and sexuality is something that they experience through a screen alone in their bedroom, usually at far too young of an age. They're not having in-person face-to-face connections with people. Obviously they would be having less sex. They're partying less. It all is because of the internet.
Right.
And they're being fed doomerism constantly. The world's ending because of climate change. Why would you look for a real connection in the world and try to get married and have kids when an iceberg is going to melt and put you underwater in the next 12 years anyways? I know Al Gore said so. It's got to be true, right? AOC says so. So the world's coming to an end. On top of the fact that we're more politically polarized than we've ever been. Remember that test or that thing they did recently where they said millennial, or that women are becoming more liberal or leftist and men are becoming more conservative. So people are being pushed to opposite ends of the spectrum. The Adderall makes you jittery and edgy. The SSRIs make you feel numb and dull. You're
The
not
birth
going
control
out
makes
and
you emotionally unstable.
Yeah.
The partying back in the day when you were all that, as much as the conservatives would have railed against the underage drinking and bad behavior from the kids, it was a social behavior that brought people together through shared experience. It wasn't always great shared experience, but I'll take mildly negative real world shared experience from really good online shared experience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it blows my mind how many people will watch Kai Cenat and just watch him party while they're sitting alone in their rooms.
Yeah.
Like hundreds of thousands of people tune into those live streams, don't they?
Yep, they do.
And watch other people live their lives through a screen.
They watch IRL streamers because they're actually going out in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been blackpilling a lot, but I wanted to mention a little white pill that I came across recently. This is myth busting voluntary childlessness among Gen Z. 92% of Gen Z women report that they want kids. 80% of childlessness is involuntary. Economics is the main cause of childlessness, even for child skeptic women. 72% of women deem motherhood socially undervalued, and more women want 4+ kids than none at all.
Oh man, I'm gonna need some source, bro, on that last one.
I'll send it to you. I will send it to you right now. So I hope
That
that's
is a
all,
white pill. That is a huge white pill for this situation.
a good sign for Gen Z that at least the majority of them report that they want kids, even if they feel, because they've been assaulted with fear porn their entire lives about overpopulation and climate and trauma.
Yeah.
They may feel disempowered to do so. Hopefully they grow up a little bit and realize it was all lies.
Yeah.
The girl pretty and the guy pretty thing, again, like it almost feels like while looking at this, what the general undertone of this is that what they label as guy pretty is bad, and what girls label as guy pretty is somehow more wholesome.
It seems like they just are terrified of men. That these Gen Z women are just terrified of men.
I wonder why that would be.
Why could that be?
Why would 20 years of society telling you that men are evil make you hate men? That's crazy.
But to be fair, if like I were a teenage girl, I would not want to reckon with the crop of young men that are growing up right now. Like,
women back then
they're
didn't
in
either
dire
anyways.
straits.
Women back in the day, I mean, weren't women always attracted to men that were at least a little bit older than them? Because the long held belief is that women mature faster than men anyway. So they always
on average,
considered-
they end up with someone, I think the average would be like 5 years older than them.
Okay.
But if you look at who people find attractive, men of all ages find women in their 20s attractive. Women at different stages of life tend to find men their own age range attractive.
Where does that range sit? What is the
Yeah, it's
5
like
years
5
on
years,
either
5 to 10
side?
years.
Something like that?
I'm sure as
Okay.
you get older, it matters less.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like these Gen Z girls are really struggling with self-esteem issues and anxiety, and the birth control and the SSRIs aren't helping. The internet isn't helping.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.